Next up, we need to work on this inventory part here where I'd be able to edit the price of a fish and it can sync to Firebase and all that good stuff. So we are going to open up our inventory.js and we are going to create a new component, not called add fish form, but edit fish form. So we'll go into our components folder and make a new file called edit fish form.js. And then we'll do our whole song and dance of import React from React. And then I'm going to go hyperspeed. Okay, so I've imported React. I made a new class with a render method and just says edit fish and a paragraph tag. And then I exported the default edit fish form. Then we'll go into our inventory and we want to loop over all of our different fish. So first question, do we even have our fish in the inventory component? Let's double check that. So I'll go to our app. Let's open up our React DevTools and we'll search for inventory. And nope, there's only add fish and load sample fish functions. So we'll go back into our app component here and we'll find where we did this. And we'll just say fish is equal to this.state.fishes. Good. Then we'll go back into our inventory component. We will import our edit fish form. And then we'll go right above our add fish form and say this.props.fishes.map. And for each fish, we are going to render out a edit fish form tag. So what does that give us? A big old error. So what happened here? Cannot read property map of undefined. Oh, that's because this.props.fishes is going to be an object. So we'll say object.keys, this.props.fishes.map. So turn that into an array before we map over it. And what else do we got here? Cannot convert null or undefined to an object. So I'll show you how I debug this as well. Take that line off. That's causing us an issue. And we'll look at our inventory. And I passed it as fish, not fishes. So I'll go back to our app. Fish is good. Probably screaming at me for minutes. There we go. So for every fish that we have this edit fish component showing up. So edit fish form. See, we got all these components being rendered out. Then instead of our edit fish, we are going to return a div with the class of fish edit. So this doesn't need to be a form tag. This can just be a regular old div. And then inside of that, I'm going to do a little bit more kung fu, where we've got our name, price, status, description, and I'm going to make all of those into an input with the type of text, the name of, and whatever that is. So the name is important here, and I'll show you why in just a second. So we got a whole bunch of input boxes. The status needs to be put into a select, which we'll add that there, select. And the options, we can actually pull the options right from our select here. Beautiful. And our description needs to be a text area. Good, got a text area, got our drop down, everything. Okay, so now let's hook the values actually up to the fish. So we don't actually have the individual fish being passed down to our edit fish form. So we'll go back to our inventory and we have this fish here. And this is actually not a fish. Let's change that to key because that is just a key of the actual fish. And then we'll pass the individual fish down by saying this.props.fishes square bracket key. And if that worked, we search for our edit fish forms. There we go. You see every single edit fish form has an individual description for each of the individual fishes. So we can go back and we can set the value of all these inputs to be the value from props. So status, name, price, description, and image. We'll say value is equal to this.props.fish. Whatever the actual name is. Now this is going to yell at us and we're not using default value, and I'll explain why in just a second, but Let's see how it works. Beautiful Pacific halibut, fresh. You see that by default, it switches this one to sold out, which is great. And there are some errors in the console. So let's deal with them one by one. Each child in an array, we always get this one. So let's go to inventory, and we're looping over and returning a fish for each one. So we need to say key is equal to key so that each edit fish form is unique. So does that get rid of that one? Yep. Now this one, warning, failed prop type. You provided a value prop on a form field without an on change handler. This will render a read-only field. So try typing one of these. Nothing happens. And that's because React doesn't like it when you put state into an editable area without you having a plan for updating it. Why? Because as soon as you put state into a text box, now all of a sudden you got state in two spots. You got state in your actual state, and you have state in a text box. And now it's all spread across two different areas, and that can get out of hand real quickly. So what React does is, rather than you typing into an input box, what it does is it will intercept the event that you key. Like I'm going to type the X key into the specific halibut. Bam, hit it. What it will do is immediately it backspace it and be like, no, you must put it into state if you want that to change. So what we would have to do is go to our app, go to our fishes, go to this first one, and change it and put X's in it. And that will, of course, update it. But if we want to be able to type into here, we need to listen for an on change event. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Back to our edit fish form. On each of these values that we have here. So it's going to go to select all my values. And I'm going to say on change is equal to this dot handle change. Then we're going to, a nice formatting there. I guess as soon as you hit 4, it'll bring it onto its own line. Then up here, we're going to make a handle change method of our own. And that method is going to take in the event. And then we're just going to console log the event. And that's good. That's good enough for now. So as soon as I put my cursor in here and type an X, the console is going to console log this proxy, this is the actual event that's happening. You see, it's running the event every single time. And on that event, there's something called the event.currentTarget. And the current target is the thing that the event got fired on. So that should give us the actual input box. There we go. See how this is a bit of a different way to do it versus refs. We can just grab the event.target, and then we can grab the event.target.value out of it. And if I put an X on the end here, you see how it's console logging whatever it is that I'm trying to type, but it's not updating the text box because React is like, it's not in state. So what we need to do is create an updated fish object and then somehow swim upstream from edit fish form to inventory, and then from inventory to app. We need to get that updated fish back into our state. Okay. So let's first go here. Let's say let's update that fish. So first thing we're going to do is take a copy of the current fish. So say const updated fish is equal to ... this props fish. And let's just console log the updated fish to see what we're working with here. So we got the updated fish, we got the description, Pacific halibut, but I'm putting an X on the end of this. So what we need to do is we need to update the name, right? So what you can do is go here and let's put this object on its own line so it looks a little nicer. And ideally what would happen is we would update the name to be event.currentTarget.value, right? So give that a save. And now if I put an X on the end, our new updated fish has an X on the end. But what if I want to change the price of it? If I put a 2 in front of it, you see, it doesn't work. Why? Well, that's because it doesn't know which property to actually update. So what we can do is, this is a new thing in ES6. It's called computed property names, where we essentially want the value that's being updated to also be dynamic. And the way that you could do that is with square brackets. And this is why I told you to put a name on there, because let me take this, comment that out for a sec. If we console log event.currentTarget.name, then it will tell us that the name was updated, the price was updated, the status was updated, the description was updated, and the image was updated. So we can figure out what got changed just by using the event.currentTarget.name and setting it to the event.currentTarget.value. So that's really nice, because we just take a copy of the current fish and then overwrite the one thing that changed. And I really like this, because sometimes I see people making like handle name change, handle description change, handle status change. You make a new method for every single field, and that's not really maintainable because you're doing all kinds of stuff there. So if this worked, I should be able to, oh man, how does JavaScript work? I forgot a comma. There we go. If this works, I should be able to change the halibut. Good. And it still doesn't show there because we have an updated state, but I see that there's an X there. And now if I put a 9 on the end of the price, the new updated fish shows me a 9. Good. So now the question is, how do I get this updated fish to swim upstream? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to where our state is, and that is our app component. We're going to, right below add fish, we're going to make an update fish property. And that method is going to take in a key, which is which fish is getting updated, and a updated fish. And what that will do is it will simply take a copy of the current fish. Take a copy of the current state. Const fishes equals this dot state dot fishes, because it's not props, because we actually are in the component where the state is living. And then to update that state, and we can just say fishes square bracket key is equal to updated fish. And we could also use the computed property value there if you like. And then 3, set that to state. This dot set state fishes or hotshot, just fishes will work there. Oh, a couple of mistakes there. Beautiful. Okay, now we have this update fish function that should take in a key and an updated fish. We'll go down to our inventory and pass it. So instead of passing add fish, or in addition to passing add fish, we'll pass update fish. Then we'll go into our inventory, and we need to pass it one step further via props. So we'll go in here, we'll say update fish is equal to this dot props dot update fish. Beautiful. And then we'll go into our edit fish form, and we should be able to say this dot props dot update fish, and it takes the key and it takes the updated fish, right? So we actually have a variable called updated fish, so that's good. We'll put that in there. But where do we get the key from? Well, again, we run into this problem where we don't actually know what the key is because we haven't yet passed it into this component, right? I'll show you. Let's go to React. Let's look for edit fish form. And we do see the key right here, but remember that we can't access the key when we're inside of a component. So if we need that for whatever reason, we need to pass it down ourselves. So let's go back to inventory, and we'll call this key, and we'll pass down it as index as well. So here, I'll say this. We'll remove that key and say this dot props dot index. So let's go through exactly what's happening there, because I know that was a lot. First of all, we have an input where the value is set to our fish name, and that in turn is living in state. Then when something changes on that input, we call this function called handle change. React will then automatically backspace that change that we did, but we can get the value of what the person had hoped to type in event.currentTarget.value, and we can take that value and update our fish by using the event.currentTarget.value, and we can only update the one field that got updated by using the input's name. And then finally, we send all of those changes upstream to our app component, because that's where our state lives, with the update fish function. So let's see if it actually works. Put an X on it. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Type error. This is our updated fish. There's no D there. There we go. Should that do it? Woohoo! It seems to be working at Atlantic, halibut. Beautiful. And also, if you check your Firebase, you should see it also working there. You could also change the price of your value, and it is updating. This is the beauty of React, is that anywhere your values are used, you can simply just pull in the values and update the variables down there. So that is being able to sync our data, and that is generally how you want to handle inputs where your state will live in an input.